Welcome to Parenting Kids and Dogs 101, a limited series podcast for parents who live with kids and dogs, or plan to. I'm your host, Michelle Stern, the founder of Pooch Parenting. I'm not just a certified professional dog trainer and former teacher, I'm a mom too. In each episode of this series, I hope you feel like I'm chatting with you, one parent to another, about life with kids and dogs, answering common questions my clients ask me, and giving you simple solutions to make your life easier and safer. I hope you'll subscribe and join me for the whole series. And don't forget to grab the accompanying workbook at poochparenting.net/podcast workbook. Enjoy! In episode 15, the final episode of this series, we'll be talking about when is the right time to get a puppy. I'll dive into some of the details, and I want to make sure that you get access to the show notes so that you can see some additional links to more information. But let's get started. So when you're trying to decide if it's the right time to get a puppy for your family, the most important thing you do is to make an honest assessment of your schedule and of your life. So in the show notes, I have a link to an assessment that you can take so that you can evaluate things fairly and honestly. Then I'd like you to think about whether or not you're able to be home and devote the time that puppies require. So puppies are social creatures, and they need a while to transition into their new homes after they leave their mom and siblings. And it wouldn't really be fair to them to get a puppy on a long weekend or maybe over a school holiday and then return back to school or work on the following Monday. So you need to be able to have enough time to devote to the puppy and help them make a good transition. I want to be really honest with you. It can be so difficult to raise a puppy alongside a baby or toddler. And for some people, it's not an ideal time to get a puppy, especially if you're uncomfortable with extra chaos and unpredictability. So if you are considering adding a puppy to your family, I'm going to say something you may not like. I'm going to encourage you to wait until your kids are at least 5 or 6 years old. And that way, developmentally, they will be able to follow some of your guidance and your direction at this age, and they can have safe, positive interactions with a dog or puppy with your support and, of course, lots of management. I know that some of you are thinking, there's no way in heck that I can wait till my kids are 5 or 6 years old. I want a dog. I have so much love to give, and I want to provide a home for a furry creature who we can all adore. So let's talk a little bit about whether or not you should get a puppy or an adult dog if you've decided that getting a dog or puppy is non-negotiable. So first, I'd like you again, to be really honest and decide if you're tolerant of sleep interruptions. So for example, if you get really cranky, kind of like I do, to be honest, if my sleep is interrupted a lot, then you might want to consider getting an adult dog who has the physical maturity to hold their bladder overnight and the emotional maturity to sleep through the night once they get used to living with you. You also need to consider your emotional past when it comes to dogs. So what I mean by that is if you have had a traumatic incident with a former dog that might have left you feeling nervous about what your new dog might be like, then it might be helpful to see if you can do a foster to adopt with a young adult dog. And I would recommend a dog age 2 or older so that you can see what the dog is really like. What is the magic about that age? Well, dogs hit social maturity around the age of 2. If it's a small breed, it's often earlier, and if it's a really large breed, social maturity can come later. But at social maturity, you'll have a much better idea of who your dog is and who they will be. And after this developmental benchmark, potential traumatic events aside, you may be more likely to know if your dog is social with other dogs, if they like kids, if they're friendly when visitors come over to the house, or if they're shy and nervous around normal household activities. With a puppy, these things are much harder to predict as the dog matures over time. So an adult dog might give you more information so that you know what you're getting and you can feel really good about the decision that you've made for your family. If you like what you're hearing so far, don't forget to grab the free workbook that comes with this limited podcast series. All you need to do is head over to my website, poochparenting.net/podcast workbook. Okay, so maybe you're a puppy fanatic like I am, and you've decided, you know what, I'm going to get a puppy and I'm going to work through all the challenges that come with raising puppies and kids together. So I'm going to give you a few tips to set you up for success. Ideally, you can meet the parents of your potential puppy. That will give you some additional information about the pup's temperament and size so that you can see ahead of time what that might be like. I would encourage you to meet the breeder in person and see what their other dogs are like. Do you like them? Do you love them? Do the dogs like your kids? Has the breeder done health testing to ensure that your dog is less likely to have skeletal, heart, breathing, or eye issues, for example? And if you're looking to rescue a puppy, then I would encourage you to ask some questions about the dog's background, if they have it. Do they know anything about the parents? And a sad question, but something important, are they willing to take the dog back if it becomes unsafe around your children in the future? I often get calls from clients or potential clients asking me if they are crazy to be considering getting a puppy when they're pregnant or in the process of adopting or using a surrogate. And I have to give that blanket answer of it depends, because everybody has a different experience. So if you are pregnant and your pregnancy is going smoothly and you feel healthy and robust, you could get a puppy early in the pregnancy so that you have time to bond with the puppy and teach the puppy some basics before your human baby arrives. But if your pregnancy is difficult, you're struggling, you're extra tired, you feel terrible, I think that you need to prioritize you and your body during this journey, because a puppy will leave you drained and overwhelmed with less time to care for your own health. And you're growing a human after all, and I want that to be your priority. Now, if you're thinking about trying to get pregnant, but you have puppy fever and you're trying to decide, am I crazy? I'm trying to get pregnant. What if I end up pregnant and have a puppy at the same time? I want to say that you will never have as much time as you do now, because once baby comes, things get so busy. So if you are thinking about getting pregnant, trying to get pregnant, doing IVF treatments or whatever else to try to bring a baby into your family, now could be a good time if you're really ready to fully commit to bonding and training and also preparing your dog for new baby. Now, the next question I get asked a lot is, if you have a baby or toddler, should you get a puppy or a dog? So I'd like to say that there is no correct answer for this. Now, some people who are sleep deprived anyway when they have a baby think, I might as well get a puppy because I'm not sleeping that much anyway. But when you have an infant, especially if it's your first baby, I would really encourage you to focus on parenting that baby and not on a puppy at this time. Another thing to think about is that puppies bite. And they bite hard, and it hurts. Their teeth are so sharp. And babies are very delicate, and they have very soft skin. So is it possible to raise a baby and a puppy together? Yes, it is. You'll need management. You'll need safety protocols in place. But parenting an infant is hard enough already, so you may want to consider whether or not you want to make that even harder. Now, if you have a toddler, you're living with an unpredictable little creature, and you might be wondering if it would be a good time to get a puppy because your toddler and puppy can grow up together. But it would almost be like raising twin toddlers, because then you're living with two unpredictable creatures who can be moody, who need a lot of sleep, who get cranky and hungry. Again, here I would encourage you to wait. After working with hundreds of families who are living with kids and dogs at the same time, I do have some basic recommendations that I would make. If you already have a dog, I'd recommend that you take as many months during your pregnancy or adoption process as possible to get your dog ready for new baby. I wouldn't necessarily get a puppy for your other dog, because your other dog may not respond the way that you expect. And so you may end up with double, triple, quadruple the work. Now, if you want to get an adult dog when you have a baby or toddler, I would recommend choosing one who is thrilled to meet your kids and who chooses to interact with them calmly as early as the first time you meet this new dog. So sometimes you may decide, I really want to live with a dog. I have so much love in my heart. I have room in my life for this. That's awesome. Good job. But you need to think hard about whether or not adding the chaos of a puppy is good for you at this point. Do you have the bandwidth for that? Or maybe you can give your home to a mature dog who is pretty chill and who loves your kids and is more predictable. I hope you have found this episode and the whole series helpful. If you have liked what you've heard, please go onto your favorite podcast app and leave a review so that other families can find this as well. Thanks for listening. It's only natural for questions about our kids and dogs to arise from time to time, especially as our babies grow up and our dogs mature. And if I'm being honest, it's not really worth asking for free advice from friends or even online because you can't rely on the accuracy of the feedback you're getting. If you'd like to learn more about the Pooch Parenting Society, where I offer practical life and science-based tips and strategies, ongoing support, and a safe place to share, head on over to safekidsanddogs.com. From one parent to another, I see you, and I promise that you're not alone. Thanks for listening.